So after I made the last video, I did buy Pacopia and it was downloading while I was uploading the video. And after about 10-15 minutes of playing, I really just kind of felt because in the back of my mind it was just a full price video game that I bought digitally. And the only reason I did that is because the keycard that it comes on is more than worthless. The game itself is only 6 gigabytes. There's no reason why it couldn't be on the keycard. I don't know why they did that. And it's not to say I've never bought digital stuff before, but it's usually when it's on a huge sale or it's worth it. And I get why people do it on handheld systems, because it's handheld and you don't have to carry a bunch of little cartridges everywhere. But with Nintendo especially, I really don't trust them. I'm really glad that I never bought anything on the Wii, probably because I didn't really have access to it at that point in time, but Nintendo don't keep their stores open for very long, and as soon as a new one comes out they drop the old one, especially the Wii U. But I never bought any on the Wii. I bought 2 on the 3DS. I bought Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Gold. I had Yellow physically, and then a few years later I ended up buying Gold physically. I got it as a gift actually, so that I'm fine with. What people always say is they're tied to your account, so if you end up losing the console or whatever, then you still got them tied to your account. But then what if the console dies years after the store shuts? And most of the stores haven't shut. Some of them have, some of them haven't. Microsoft are actually pretty good at it because they, you actually have backwards compatibility. What a concept. The PS3 store is still alive, but barely. People cried out about that. To get it, to keep it alive, people did complain and people rallied, and they actually did. So, well done. I had a couple of PSP purchases back in the day, and after this store stopped getting hacked, I downloaded a couple costumes for Dissidia, and then, I didn't buy it. I bought a 1 music pack, but I did end up getting all the costumes, but they were pretty cheap back then, so I wasn't really thinking about it. And I was a teenager, so it's just kind of, I wasn't really thinking about it. The 79p a pack. I didn't really start buying things on the Xbox until 2012, when I got the wireless one after my Elite Red Ringed in late 2011, and I got one for Christmas. I bought a PS3 in 2014. Yeah, I know, quite late. But I did end up buying quite a few digital ones on there of just PS1 games that I kind of missed out on. And because they were expensive at the time, the Final Fantasy games were expensive back in the mid 2010s. I don't know why, and they dropped quite a lot, probably because their digital versions available. Tell Nintendo to get the memo. Pokemon Physical was still quite expensive even after Leaf Green came out. But the main one I got on the 360, I think, was Sonic 4. I bought Mega Man 9, 10, but I've bought those again since. And obviously they're digital only, so you either buy it, you put up or shut up, or you don't do it. But there were a few things I did regret. I bought the Ratchet and Clank HD collection, which, again, I only did that because the physical version is ridiculously expensive. And I kind of thought to myself, why am I buying the same thing twice? I have these games on the old consoles, the PS2 and the PS2 and the PSP, but I wanted the trophies. I've since played it on the Vita. I came 3rd out of like 2,000 people for a speed run of Ratchet and Clank 3, not to toot my own horn or anything, but and it's stuff like the PS3 did have good sales. I bought the whole Mass Effect trilogy for like £5 or $5. And also when Persona 4 was still relatively expensive, I dive bombed the Vita store before I thought it was supposed to close. And then I got the free version anyway from a customer at a store I used to work at, but I got that for free, so that's kind of negated that being bought digitally. But yeah, anyway, I mean the Vita store and the PS3 store didn't shut because of fan outrage. But I thought it was going to close, so even though my Vita barely connects to the internet anymore, I made sure to get it before going to work. And I honestly don't know why more people didn't complain that their PS3 purchases didn't show up on the PS4. Now, I've been told by people that they did complain, but I don't know, I never saw anything about it. And there was a video by Zero Punctuation years ago where he said about people throwing their PS3s down the stairs after the 4 came out, and I did have, that's all stuck with me because there's so much stuff you've bought on your PS3 and you can't do anything with it anymore. Like, it's yours, you bought it, but you don't have access to it. Again, like, if you take care of your PS3 like I have, I've got 2 of them. One of them was a gift. You'll always have access to it if you take care of it, but then it will inevitably break one day. You can probably save the hard drive. It's more the console and the CMOS battery in it that will fail you, but I don't get it. You can trust Steam, at least while Gabe's still around, but I never had good access to PC gaming. I had until 2019. I had a Mac until 2014. It was a family Mac. And then I had a laptop which Steam only worked on there until 2015, and then I didn't buy my own laptop until 2019. But I didn't want to get into PC gaming just because I never really had that good of a time with it. I know it's a lot better now. I understand in the long run it probably is better because you can buy something from 15 years ago and it's still there. It's all in one list. You have access to it any time. I think you can download it if they go offline. Good luck having enough room to download all that stuff. And if I could go back and do it again, I probably would have gone over to the PC because you can have it all together. I've barely used my PS5 this year at all. I've actually been playing a lot of retro stuff this year because you can still. Even last year I played Manhunt, and I've been playing Silent Hill this year. And even though those games are 20 years old, you still have them. I know it's a very, very old argument, but you have the disc. I mean, honestly, anything can happen. Your house could get burned down. You could have a flood, anything like that. But if your house did burn down, or you got robbed, or there was a flood, I think you'd have a bit more important things to worry about than video games. Just one. I know this is from 2009, 2007, 2008, 2009, something like that. I was young, but I bought 2 TV shows on iTunes just because it's my birthday. I got a new iPod. I got some gift cards. Woohoo! And I lost the entire collection of all of that, and I don't know why. I got into contact with the people there. I say the people, but I had an email that I remember being in correspondence with someone, and he just kind of went, "Yeah, man, there's nothing we can do." So I spent £70 on Sonic X and a £5 on Spider-Man MTV series, and I just completely lost all of it. And ever since then, even though that was a long, long time ago, and things have gotten better, in some ways worse, actually, considering that companies actually don't care if you have any of it or not. But that was nearly 20 years ago, and that's been in my brain ever since. I take care of all my old stuff. PS1, PS2, all of that. It's all taken care of. The only thing I've ever really had break down on me was a hard drive and the 360 that red ringed, which again lasted me a long time. I don't know why that happened. I was playing Sonic 2 at the time. But I take care of my old stuff, and they're all still alive. But when they inevitably do die, and the stores are no longer accessible, what do we do then? People always said, in 20 years when you can't get them anymore, blah blah blah, etc. What's going to happen in 20 years when you can't access your games, you can't access your library, blah blah blah. But we're there now. Things are disappearing, and it's been 20 years. These storefronts have been open for that long, and the old consoles, they can't keep them up forever. I understand the 360 store's gone offline, but you can still access it on the Xbox One. I think I haven't really used my Xbox One. Again, I got that for free. I'm doing pretty well here. But we're there now. Things are disappearing. A couple of years ago, Sony took people's history videos away from them because they lost a license to the History Channel or some such. And yeah, okay, whatever. Who cares to the 5 people who bought something on the History Channel? That's the argument I heard. Who's buying history videos on Sony? But some people did, and now they've lost it. They've lost something they paid for. I remember hearing about Metal Gear Rising being taken off the Mac, and everyone was laughing, saying, the 5 people that bought that on the Mac. And I get it, hearing that a game like that's on the Mac is a bit weird, but maybe but they still did it. They still did it. They took away something that you paid for, and if that were me, I would be mad. I don't mind as much paying for subscription because I never really owned it anyway, and it's nice to pay a cheap price to have. I don't like subscription overall, but for games especially, I do actually quite like it because you can. For games in particular, I don't mind a subscription because you never really owned it anyway, and it's quite cheap, and you can just jump in, jump out. Not for me because I have to get trophies, but you jump in, jump out, play what you want. They have a relatively good catalogue on there. Xbox does better than Sony, but Xbox messed that up. maybe they're hoping as we get older we don't care anymore. They'll say that you're moving on, you're playing newer games, because they don't care about preservation. They never have, they never will. I personally keep a list of all my digital stuff so I can at least remember what I have, because most of these companies don't care if you lose it or not. And to me, like, I want to see what I have. I like having physical stuff so I can look at my shelf and say, oh yeah, I've got that. And the digital stuff, I mean, on PlayStation and Xbox, you can go to their websites and you can see what you've bought. On Nintendo, you can do the same thing. You can see that, you have all your transaction history of all the stuff you've ever bought, but you can't access it unless you have that console. And it's not like the PS3 where you could download it on the PS3 and stick it on the PSP. Good feature. They got rid of it. Of course they did. But it's just PlayStation 4 was so isolated from the 3, and then the 3 was as well because they took the backwards compatibility off of it. But I don't know. It's just I don't know where this is going to go, and I do not like buying digital stuff at all. I know it's the way of the future, but if these consoles go discless only, one you're falling for it anyway, because you're stuck in Sony's ecosystem where they can charge you whatever they want, right? But if these things do go digital only, I'm going to have to just tap out and just say, yeah, I'm done. Because even though I've broken one of my rules to buy Procopia digitally for full price, I mean, we're not here forever. I'm not going to go on a boycott. It's not even a boycott that the game's bad, like Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's just, I don't like keycards. I don't know anybody that does. And Nintendo in particular are terrible at looking after your digital stuff, because they just turn stores off. There's a few games on the Wii you can't even buy anymore. Like the Crystal Chronicles game, it just doesn't exist now. It's just gone. So if you didn't download it onto your Wii and you've taken care of a 20-year-old system, well, I don't know, it's gone. Virtual console's a great idea, but not if they don't maintain it. The only time I've ever been like super okay with buying digital stuff was when it's like I said earlier in the video, when it's super on sale. I bought Dragon Ball FighterZ and Dragon Ball Xenoverse on Switch in 2020 on a sale, and they were like £3 each. Like, come on, like, that's how I can get around digital stuff if it's really cheap, and then I can buy it physical later on and make up for it. But yeah, £3 for two, or £6 for 2 games, or like, what's it, $850 for 2 games? It's just, that's a no-brainer. So I think at the end of the day, I think digital, I made this title saying I hate digital games. I do. If me buying something isn't owning it, then I do kind of believe that theft isn't piracy. Because if they don't care about you spending your money, then you'll go around some other way to try and find what you want. So I think overall, digital is bad. Subscription's bad because we don't own anything anymore anyway. You'll own nothing and be happy. But then they can just charge more and more on a subscription, and you think in your head you're thinking you're getting it for cheaper. But overall, digital games are bad. I think Steam protects you pretty well, especially for now, because they've got Gabe in charge and they're an isolated company. They don't have, I think it's that they don't have shareholders that really try and nickel and dime you and don't care about you. So they protect you. Sony and Nintendo do not, and Microsoft, I think they're pretty good, just from what the cultural zeitgeist and what I can see. So again, you obviously do what you want. Digital is the way that we're going with things, but if they're not going to protect you, and especially Sony with their terrible prices, and from what I'm seeing at the moment, I'll put it up on screen. I don't think it's very good. So obviously, it's your money, you do what you want. But I just be wary. At least keep a track of what. At least keep some sort of track about what you buy. Notes on your phone, an Excel sheet, or just something. I've got all of my finances are on notes and Excel sheets. But yeah, it was just something that was on my mind. I made some notes this morning, and after Procopia, I'm gonna go play it after I finish this. I've bought it now. I just thought it was digital. It's still having the license digitally is still better than owning a key card that is literally worthless. I can't express that enough. So physical good, Steam good, even though I barely use it, but Steam good. I bought some stuff on Steam when I didn't want to get the trophies on PlayStation. Then I kind of regretted that because I'm like, I hate digital, but Steam's good. I could have bought it. It was Nier Automata anyway, which the trophies aren't that hard. But yeah, Steam good, Sony bad, Nintendo bad, Microsoft okay. Support brick and mortar stores. Take care of your stuff. You won't have much to worry about. Back it up. Hard drives, SSDs, just back it up. Keep it. Make notes. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.